Hey there, and welcome to another episode of Read to Lead. I'm Jeff Brown. I'm your host of this podcast now these 11 and a half years, and I'm glad you're here. Today's episode is going to be a little different. No special guests, just me talking about some relatively major changes coming to the podcast this year, 2025. For the last 11 years, we've had a consistent once-a-week format. Every Tuesday, like clockwork, you'd get a fresh episode featuring a new book and usually a conversation with that book's author. That's a lot of books, 52 every year, in fact. Over time, it's allowed us to cover hundreds and hundreds of amazing titles. But as exciting as it's been, I've been hearing from many of you that though you appreciate hearing about so many great books, it's tough to keep up with everything. And if I'm honest, it's become difficult for me to give each book the focused attention and deep dive I think it truly deserves. And you need look no further than 2024. If you listened over the last few weeks and months, you probably noticed there were quite a few encore episodes and a handful of solo episodes to go along with the handful of new interviews that I conducted last year. In fact, in 2024, probably only around half of the 52 episodes released were with authors of new books. So, starting now in 2025, the Read to Lead podcast will shift to a once-a-month interview format. That means we'll have 12 main episodes for the year, each featuring an author whose brand new book, I believe, is among the most significant or impactful of 2025. Now, there might also be a surprise solo episode or a special edition from time to time because, well, you know me, I can't help but pop in and share more of what I'm learning on occasion. But the cornerstone of this new schedule will be those 12 deep dive conversations, one powerful book and author each month. So why the shift? Well, number one, deeper focus. With fewer books, we can explore each title a little more thoroughly. Number two, easier for you. Rather than racing through 52 recommendations a year, you can take your time exploring a single new book every month. And chances are it'll be easier on your wallet, too. Now, I'm not naive enough to believe that anyone listening to this show actually managed to read all 52 books I generally presented year after year after year. You likely cherry-picked from the 52 I presented, and that's okay. Now that cherry-picking will no longer be necessary on your part. Granted, with the thousands of books that are published each and every year, 52, when I first started this podcast, seemed like a drop in the bucket. But it's becoming more and more challenging, I've discovered, to find 52 books every year worth your time. And that brings me to number three, higher quality. By limiting the roster of featured books, I can truly cherry pick the absolute best reads of the year, ensuring each monthly interview is something special. Ultimately, my mission is to help you discover reading habits that transform your life and career. And this new format, I believe, will enable me to serve you at an even higher level. Now, each new episode will continue to feature an in-depth interview. We'll unpack each author's best ideas, break down the book's key lessons, and look at real-life ways to apply those lessons to our own lives. And as I said before, I still might drop occasional bonus episodes. Maybe I'll share a personal reading list update, a Q&A from the Read to Lead community, or something timely that I just can't wait a full month to talk about. But for the most part, plan on one meaty interview episode each month. Speaking of which, I can't wait for you to hear the first interview of 2025. I'm super excited about the author and the book she's written. Let's just say it covers a topic I know you'll find incredibly relevant. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for that episode dropping later this month. And as always, thank you for being a part of Read to Lead. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't already, consider subscribing to the podcast so you don't miss an episode, especially now that they'll be more spaced out. Also, if you want a little extra behind the scenes and more book recommendations, be sure to sign up for my email list and check out the Read to Lead community at jeffbrown.me. The podcast website, by the way, readtoleadpodcast.com. Well, that's it for today's show. Short, sweet, and hopefully clear on where we're headed in 2025. Remember, we're focusing on 12 books that I think are the must-reads of the year, and you can look forward to those interviews rolling out each month. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode. As always, remember, leaders read and readers lead.